Join me once again to welcome His Excellency Ambassador Tobian. The Ambassador of Norway, most welcome. And he came on time, we came chasing each other. I was getting into the road and I saw his vehicle passing. So there was a bit of a siren and I gave way, but I realized the siren was a police siren for something else. But we came chasing after each other and he was here on time. Can you also join me to welcome Dr. Tom OKURUT, Executive Director of the National Environment Management Authority. He's going to speak fast, so I'm going to ask him to apologize for coming late. Doctor, I'll ask you to apologize for coming late. We kept waiting for you, and I think it's unfair to the people who came earlier. That's by prerogative of me being the moderator for this session. I take a few liberties on that. We will have brief opening remarks from the National Environment Management Authority, and the Executive Director, Dr. Tom OKURUT, will make that presentation. And then we will have a keynote presentation from Ambassador Tobian. I am told that the Minister has been called into a special session of cabinet. There's been a lot happening in the last few weeks, and cabinet has been quite busy. So he is busy. He might join us a little bit later as we move along, but we don't think we should continue to wait for him. Then we'll have, as you see the high table, I will inform you of who will speak next after the two gentlemen seated here have spoken. Dr. Tom OKURUT? You should feel free to choose where to speak from, because I think those also work. But I think it's better to come to the podium.
Thank you, MC. Apologies as requested. Good morning, all participants. Your Excellency, Ambassador Tobian, colleagues and friends from the Southern Sudan, and all partners and practitioners from the oil industry here, and the students, and those who have come from various places, welcome. This is a very important conference, and from the introduction I noticed there is a variety of participants that have come here, and this is very, very, very positive. So on behalf of the organizers and on behalf of myself and the organization I work for, I want to welcome all of you in your respective capacities. Oil and gas production is a new entrant into Uganda. We have been used to oil from petrol stations for a long time, that's what we know. But oil and gas production is new. So it has elicited very many things. Name them: fear, uncertainty, anxiety, hope, revenue, richness, poverty, and migration of people, loss of land, and all that are some of the things that we've been hearing in the media that are coming as a result of the oil and gas activities that are taking place in Alberta and Grammy. These are the issues that we have to manage on a daily basis, because each of you can be fixed in this box of issues of concern in the Alberta and Grammy. But from the interaction I've had with many Ugandans, fear and uncertainty is dominant. People are not worried about the richness. Ordinary people are not worried about the richness or poverty. They are very anxious. They are very uncertain. They fear that this oil is coming to do something else. Government of Uganda, as will be explained later on, with the strong support of the Norwegian Embassy, has established a robust system for oil and gas management. That's in Uganda. Particularly, we have aggregated the support or the oil and gas production processes into three pillars. We have the resource pillar, which is entirely responsible for getting the oil from the ground. The science, Mr. Mpagi is talking about, the science and whatever is being done by the resource pillar. They're the ones who know where the oil is, how much it is, whether it is recoverable or something of the sort. That's the resource pillar. The revenue pillar is preparing itself to receive the money by putting in necessary laws, tax collection systems, and everything in place, including probably establishing an oil fund to save some of the, where you can have some savings of the oil revenue for the future. That is being discussed because we are preparing for this windfall that is coming from the oil and gas business in Uganda. On the other hand, the environmental pillar is an arrangement where government institutions, the civil society, and the districts where the oil and gas is being extracted from are organized to deal with issues of environment, to see that the oil and gas exploration activities that are being undertaken do not impact on the environment or minimally impact on the environment. The government of Uganda made a decision, a conscious decision, to get oil and gas from Alberta and Graben. Alberta and Graben, as you know, contains a lot of biodiversity, for which the government of Uganda is already getting money, and many Ugandans are benefiting from that biodiversity. But there was a conscious decision that we want also to get oil from the same source. And the only impact that we have to minimize the impact of the oil on the biodiversity. That means the impact of the oil on the environment there. And the environmental pillar institution, headed by myself, is to ensure that the oil and gas activities, production activities, have no or minimal impact on the environment. Sometimes I have assured the members of the media that if you want to build a house in like here, you will cut grass. If you want the place to be the same as before you cut the grass, then that's not true. There will be some change, and our task is to manage that change, to minimize that change. Now, therefore, the environmental pillar draws immediate worry across the country. I've already mentioned those. The bad examples are washed in Africa. The river, the Niger Delta in Nigeria is an example. People have lost revenue, lost income, livelihood, everything, and have shifted without anything. Many other places, the same things are occurring. As I said, those bad examples are very vivid in the ears and eyes of Ugandans. I'm also sure, I'm quite sure that all of you here have less worry, as I described the three pillars. You are less worried about the oil resource, the science, because I don't think you can contribute anything to it. The geologists, the petroleum engineers, and all that group of people are in charge, and they're giving us the information. So, to the general public, that's not our worry. The resource is there. The guys to tell us that the resource is there, is there. The finances, I've told you, Minister of Finance is in charge. Minister of Finance, the Revenue Authority, Bank of Uganda, and all that group handling money of Uganda are in charge. Like always, they're in charge of the money. So we don't have to worry about that. But I'm sure your worry is the environment. All of you here, that's your worry. Therefore, this conference, which is now the Petroleum Industry Environmental Management Conference, has been convened to share experiences in the environment, and we shall also draw specific examples from Alberta and Graben. I've also seen colleagues from Sudan, who shall share the experiences, how they are managing environment amidst this plenty of oil. So, it's an important conference, therefore. And I want to implore that all of you who are here, as I said from the different introductions, you are very active participants, either consultants, practitioners, and every other person here. I invite you to be very active participants during this workshop. Share knowledge. In the latter part of the day, I will present the detail of how we are handling the environment in Alberta and Graben in a separate paper. But for the rest of the, if you look through the program, there are very many interesting interventions that are going to be presented by different people. And I would want and implore that you listen and interrogate the people who are presenting the papers to get more information and to assure yourself by the time you leave this conference, at least you should go back and talk to your neighbor or to your spouse or to your best friend that there is something positive being done about the environment in Uganda. I mean the environment in Alberta and government. That's what we want to assure you. And we will describe later on in the day what we have put in place to ensure that there is minimal interference on the environment by the oil exploration activities. It's our daily fear, our daily answers to us. We go to Parliament, we go to everywhere, they say, assure us that the oil is not going to affect our environment in Alberta and government. And we always say, we are assuring you. And they say, what are you stating? You are ahead or what? But I want to state that knowledge that is available, technology that is available, sharing of information in particular, has been very important in equipping us to answer this. Yes, we can assure the Ugandans that the oil and gas activities that the government is undertaking, Alberta and government will not have, or will have minimal interference on the environment. And for that, we would really like to appreciate the support that we've got from the Norwegian government. All the things I'm talking about, you know the challenges of our budget constraints. We would not have probably achieved them to the extent that we have moved without the support of the Norwegian government. And we have built capacity, we built institutional knowledge, tools and whatever from the support of the Norwegian government. And I really, Ambassador, I want to really thank you, and thank you on behalf of behalf of the institution I work for, and actually on behalf of government, for the support that you have extended, particularly for us in the environmental pillar. Most of the people working in the environmental pillar had not been exposed to oil and gas. We had to start from the scratch. But we have built capacity through training, through sharing of information, through attachments, and through mentoring. That most of the staff that are working there in the various institutions have got some experience, and therefore we've been able to move where we are. And I must say, it's not by accident. Some people want to say that it's by chance. That up to date, we have not had a major disaster in the oil exploration activities that are taking place. And it's not by chance. It is by practice and by systems that were put in place that the activities have so far gone without any incidents. And we want to emphasize that we are going to continue with that momentum so that when we reach the production stage, we're able to continuously assure the country that oil and gas activities are going to bring us richness, but we'll also assure them the fear that they have will be minimized. So that's the message I want to share with you. And the Ambassador and all the participants that are here, thank you for coming. Thank you for coming, and I wish you all of you a very positive meeting. And I want to emphasize positive meeting. Those who have negative questions, make them positive when you're asking them, so that we can discuss fairly. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. OKURUT, for those brief remarks. But Dr. OKURUT highlights some of the issues that are going to form the centerpiece of the discussion during this two-day conference. I'd like to mention that this conference has been put together by ARTEN, by the Norwegian Petroleum Academy, the Uganda National Bureau of Standards, and the National Environment Management Authority. It's been made possible by Tullow Oil, Uganda, by the Chinese National Offshore Oil Company, CNOOC, by Total, and by General Machinery Group. So allow me, at this stage, to welcome Ambassador Tobion to make a keynote presentation.
Good morning, everybody. And I must like to say, and distinguished guest participants, my friend Dr. Tom, I had also wished to see some politicians here, but they might come later. I just wanted to say I'm very happy to be here to take this discussion and say a few words, because we are now at a very crucial stage in East Africa. East Africa is on the threshold of becoming an important player in the oil and petroleum sector in the world. So I think we are now at a very important stage. And this gives us great opportunities. Because if managed well, there could be a lot of things, good things happening. Jobs created, infrastructure developed, health systems improved, education system improved. So we are really looking forward to see that this, what is happening now in the next years, comes to the benefit of these countries at large. But we also know that there are great risks, not least for the environment. In Uganda, for instance, we have the Murchison Falls, the Bugungu Wildlife Reserve, Semediki National Park, and wildlife reserves. These are all host to the one of the world's richest and highly sensitive ecosystems. These areas are also the host for the oil production. And most of the wildlife, most of the development will happen in the areas where you have wildlife and where you have protected areas. The risk for the environmental biodiversity and sustainability posed by the oil activities in these areas are obvious as they are great. But yet, up to today, there has been very little discussion on this. Little public attention on the dangers posed by the oil activities in these prestigious areas. I think we all agree that this needs to change. We need to have a better public discussion. And this conference, we think, is an opportunity to do that. So I would like to thank the R10, the NPA, all the other organizers, the sponsors for putting together this conference for this discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, safeguarding the environment requires law, regulations, studies, guidelines, monitoring plans, and mechanisms, among others. We are pleased that Norway, through the Oil for Development program, has contributed precisely to do this, in particular to the development of solid political and legal frameworks. But while developing these legal frameworks and monitoring mechanisms is one thing, the big challenge is of implementation and putting things into action. This responsibility rests on several levels. From the men and women working on the ground, from the bureaucrats in the relevant agencies and institutions, and for the politicians. All these entities will have to work together like a well-oiled machinery. And the necessary resources need to be put in place to strengthen capacity, to safeguard the integrity, to develop the structures, and to put in place a good system for communication and coordination. The ultimate responsibility for all these rests with the owners of the machinery. That is the political leaders and the Ugandan government. Political will is the key. With political will and commitment comes the necessary resources that strengthens capacity and the granting of the necessary authority for coordination. But let us not forget the responsibilities of the oil companies. They also have a responsibility to make sure that the environmental damage of their activities are as small as possible. The oil companies must not only be held accountable, they must also be facilitated in being environmental conscious. This requires a close dialogue and cooperation between the government and the companies. In other words, the oil companies should be the government's best friend in ensuring a sustainable cohabitation of oil and development, oil and environment. The grounds for these fruitful cooperation should be there. Total and Tullow and made clear commitment to apply international good practices to the development of the oil resources, committing themselves to the International Finance Corporation Performance Standards. These standards are known for being the most stringent standards on environment and biodiversity. So I think with the oil companies and the government working together, we should be one step further in the right direction. Ladies and gentlemen, there lies a great value in safeguarding the treasure that Uganda's wildlife reserves and protect the environment truly are, and of which the Albertan graphite is a jewel in the crown. At the end of the day, we hope to see a vibrant petroleum industry that generates wealth to Uganda's people and that peacefully coexists with a profitable tourism industry and a sustainable environment that safeguards Uganda's unique wildlife and biodiversity. The moment is here now, ladies and gentlemen, and I hope, and my sincere hope, that all actors involved will take responsibility to address with them to make this a living reality. A broadly integrated and well-coordinated approach is crucial. On behalf of Norway and the Norwegian Embassy, I look forward to follow the process further and pledge to continue to be engaged part of Uganda and its people and its wildlife. Thank you very much for your attention. Have a good discussion.
Was that strong enough? Can I request that we give the ambassador a more befitting hand clap? Thank you very much, Your Excellency. I have two requests to make to you. One is, might you be open to maybe a couple of questions or comments from the audience, if they have any?
Yes.
Thank you. If you have any questions or comments for the ambassador from the keynote presentation, you can make them now because he will be leaving shortly after. He said he has up to 11 with us. So the microphone is moving around. If you have any question or comment, put up your hand, tell us who you are, and then you can ask. Yes, sir?
Kweku Ene is my name. I'm from Ghana, managing Zero Environmental Technologies. Mine is not a question, but expression of gratitude to the Norwegian government. The Norwegian government has been very supportive of the oil and gas industry in Ghana, and have chosen my facility to conduct and train the Ghana EPA on oil field auditing. We've come this far to provide the services to both Ghana and several neighboring countries because of the support that the Norwegian government has been giving us. So I want to use this opportunity to thank the ambassador for the support that the Norwegian government is giving our company. Thank you.
Thank you very much. May I also use the opportunity to welcome our brothers and sisters from our colleagues from Ghana, because I hadn't said that at the beginning, because the front rows didn't introduce themselves. There's a question, a comment from the gentleman there?
Good morning. My name is Jerome Azil. I work with OKURUT, an international development NGO, also has a program on oil, gas and mining issues, particularly supporting communities. I would also like to appreciate the strong support of the Norwegian government for oil for development. My question actually to the ambassador is, to what extent is the Norwegian government also involved in supporting other stakeholders apart from the government?
I also request that after you have spoken, in the absence of the Minister for Energy, and in the absence of the other two speakers that have been expected to speak, you also do us the honors of declaring this conference open, and then after that we'll take a tea break, and when we come back we'll get into the substance of what has brought us here. Your Excellency.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much for the appreciation also from our friends from Ghana. I just wanted to say that we have, as you said, worked with Ghana for some time, and we're also trying to work with other countries. We have an oil for development support program in Mozambique, we have in Tanzania, and we're also looking at other places. So I think this is part of our trying to share some of our experiences from our own development with countries that would appreciate it. So I thank you. I think we have had a very good cooperation in Ghana as well. So I do appreciate that you're happy with that. The question was on whether we work with other entities than the government. Yes, we do. First of all, I think we have stressed in our discussion with Uganda over the last years that it is very important to enhance the communication and the involvement of the people. And one of the actors that can sort of facilitate that will be, of course, the NGOs. So there is, under the program in Uganda, agreements with, for instance, the World Wildlife Fund, and we have also supported other NGOs in their trying for them to grasp what are the senses of the feelings of the people and try to communicate that in the public debate. We are also, through our democratic government facility, which is funded by it's not my morning yet. Funded by a number of donors. There are a component which is also looking into accountability in the petroleum sector, and there you also find a number of NGOs that have been supported. And we also have had several parliamentarians in Norway to study our experiences. We have had the Minister of Finance, the Minister of Petroleum and Energy, and others to see both the setup in Oslo, ministries and so, but also going to Stavanger to see some of the industries and also be exposed to some of the challenges. And I think it's fair to say that it's a complex industry, and it's very important to have a number of stakeholders trying to understand both the ups and downs of the petroleum sector. But in Norway, our experience is that if we manage it well, it could be to the benefit of most of the population. But I like to stress, like my friend Dr. Tom said, that in developing a new industry, there will also be changes. Not everything will be like it was before. So you have to sort of manage those changes. You have to manage the expectations. And that's why I think it's in our role, the development program, we also try to bring so many stakeholders as possible into the debate, so that everyone debate on a so little better and well-informed foundation. So that's why also this seminar is very important, because I think you have an opportunity here to exchange views on how you can communicate the challenges and opportunities based on experiences from Ghana, from South Sudan, from Uganda. So I'm very happy that you have this opportunity. And I've been also given the task to open the seminar. So I think I would just like to say that thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak here. Thank you for the good participation, and I'm looking forward to have some report from the discussions later on. So, Mr. Chair, Mr. Master of Ceremonies, I think we can then say that the seminar is open. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, and thank you very much to you members. We will be taking a break for tea now. I've been advised that before you start on your tea, there will be a group photograph outside in the grass. The tea is ready, but within a moment, we will know exactly what spot the photographers have chosen to take the group photograph. So just bear with us. There was a suggestion that we maybe could continue with the introductions, but I think let's get to know each other during the interactive sessions and when we're taking the tea, and then maybe when we come back, if you are going to speak, introduce yourself so that people get to know who is their neighbor. We can ask Ben to make the announcement on the tea and the photograph. Thank you.
Thank you, Charles. I think we are now all in the know now. The ambassador has allowed us to use this place in his respective capacity. We have the tea is organized on the corridor out there, and then there's another one on the lower floor. But because you have been seated since almost 9 or before, those of you who came early, we want to do some stretch, not here, but up to the garden, and then we would like to know really how many people mean. We would like to remember how we were here. And then we shall take a group photo from the gardens, and then come catch a cup of tea, try to network, have a word with an ambassador if you could, or if you want. And then after the break, we should be able to start the stress of sitting and listening to the presentations. For now, we never wanted to make it so tight. So the cup of tea will be up here on the lower floor, but let's stretch our legs by going to the garden, and then take a group photo, and then network. And then we should be able to introduce ourselves to each other. I'm sorry for those who never really introduced yourselves around here, but it's because of the time constraint. Thank you, and have a good tea.
Sorry?